We want to catch you up on the new details we've just learned on that Phoenix church taking in immigrants by the busload. Turns out they're not the only one. Several churches are doing this and have been for years. ICE dropping them off. They help them out because there really isn't enough room for ICE to hold these families. And now those families have been sent to relatives or other places across the country, waiting for their hearing with immigration court.
It is a complicated issue, though. They're not free, but they're not locked up either. ABC 15's Mike Pelton live at Shadow Rock United Church of Christ, where busloads of immigrant families got dropped off earlier this week. Mike, you spoke with ICE today about how this is all supposed to work.
Well, Faye, it is a convoluted process. And first, a church minister here tells me in recent days they took in 104 people. This is near 8th Avenue and Thunderbird. As of tonight, no more than 12 people remain here waiting to head across the country to connect with their families as they are stuck in the immigration process.
The process isn't new. Immigration and Customs Enforcement says it's happened for years, but there's been a surge in more families coming into Arizona. And ICE says since there's limited room to house them, they're being released. That's how some came to this North Phoenix church in recent days, as well as others at undisclosed locations around the valley. Some seeking asylum, some aren't.
What's changed since Sunday is exactly right, that the volume of who we're releasing to the faith-based organizations has increased. There was a backlog in CBP custody on people waiting to go to ICE. We've effectively eliminated that backlog.
ICE Field Office Director Henry Lucero says the families chosen for release are equipped with ankle monitors and are required to check in with an ICE office as they go through the court process.
There's an absolute loophole. The ICE only has the ability to detain a family unit in our family residential centers for about 20 days. That process of going through immigration proceedings will never happen in that short amount of time.
The 20-day restriction goes back to something called the Flores Settlement, aimed to decrease potential harm to immigrant children caused by prolonged detention. The Trump administration wants to increase the time allowed. Statistics show the number of family units apprehended along the southwest border more than 12,000 in August, the most in the past 11 months.
If the system works properly, it could take weeks. 20 days is too short. There's a lot of variables in there with immigration judges and court proceedings, but we've seen people go through the process within weeks when we're talking about single adults, so there's no reason that couldn't happen the same way with family units.
In recent months, ICE has taken a PR hit amidst the separation of migrant children from their families. Lucero says ICE's role in that was misunderstood as ICE tried to unify family members. Still, I asked if he's ashamed of a system that separated kids and their families.
I've been doing this job for over 21 years. I've seen different things ebb and flow, and I know immigration has been largely controversial throughout my entire career. Myself, the officers that I lead continue to do their jobs with the utmost professionalism, and we are abiding by our leadership and have our leadership support.
Now today, Lucero tells me that safety is a top priority. Those who are released are considered not a threat to the public. Today, Lucero also credits the faith-based organizations with helping to temporarily take in those families as they get released. But at least here at Shadow Rock, the minister today tells me he does not consider this a real partnership with ICE, but his goal is to help the people. For now, we're live in Phoenix. Mike Pelton, ABC 15, Arizona.
Yeah, it's definitely a complicated issue with a lot of moving parts. Mike, thanks.
And there are more problems on our border. In the past weeks, migrant smugglers have been abandoning big groups. More than 1,400 people found near our border with Mexico. That's not just adults, but children too. They're left in the desert and luckily found by patrol agents.
We are watching the weather tonight with rain headed our way.
Meteorologist John Patrick joining us tonight. Who might see some of the drops out there?
Yeah, you know, we've already seen a few light showers throughout the day today, a couple of bonus sprinkles in and around the valley. I had about 10 drops on my windshield today on the way into work. But yeah, it looks like really all of us could see some rain over the next couple of afternoons here. We're already seeing that cloud cover stream into the valley and points south. A few spotty showers up across northern Arizona right now, but all this is moving in out ahead of Tropical Storm Sergio. Now, the latest track with Sergio is staying well south of Arizona, but still those rain chances are on the rise. As we head on into tomorrow morning, we could start to see some of those showers here in the valley, and these rain chances stick around into the start of your weekend. We're timing them out coming up.
All right. Thanks, JP. A group of 30 volunteers out today searching for a missing ASU grad student last seen on an Oregon mountain. Now, tragically, we've learned His body has been found. ABC 15's Zach Crenshaw joins us live. And Zach, you have been following this story from the beginning.
After more than 72 hours of searching, the worst fears of David Yagmorian's family and the search and rescue teams were realized when they found the 30-year-old on Mount Hood. Now, he was found at 8,500 feet, about 2 miles north of the lodge where he was trying to get to. On Monday, after 3 days of hiking with a friend on Mount Hood on their fall break, David Yagmorian and his friends separated and they never reunited. David was an ASU grad student and also a research assistant there. Now, it's unclear what exactly happened to David. There's some speculation that he may have fallen and others that he may have gotten hypothermia. The family has been notified. I spoke with them yesterday. They were very optimistic that David was going to be found alive, but unfortunately that is not the case. His family will likely be bringing his body back here in the coming days. We're talking with experts about the common mistakes people make in the valley when they go elsewhere and the dangers in particular of Mount Hood. We're going to have much more on this story tonight on ABC 15 at 10. In Phoenix, Zach Crenshaw, ABC 15, Arizona.
Zach, thanks. President Trump could soon make a return trip to the Valley. That news coming to us from Republican Senate candidate Martha McSally. She told us today after her interview that President Trump will be back in Arizona and security details are being worked out right now. She didn't share where or when. The president just the latest in a string of high-profile Republicans heading to our state ahead of the midterms. That list also includes former President George W. Bush and former presidential candidate Mitt Romney. Meantime, Arizona has seen a record number of people registering to vote, nearly 41,000 people signing up Tuesday before the deadline.
But the real trick, getting people to actually cast their ballot. With so many big races this election, both sides pushing for everyone to vote. And that includes the governor's race. ABC 15's John Genovese live at the state capitol tonight. And John, both sides, we've really seen two key issues at play here.
Yeah, education and border security. Those have been the two big topics this campaign season. And with the election less than a month away, the numbers show the Democratic nominee has some catching up to do.
This is an opportunity where the voice of Arizonans get a chance to be heard.
Democrat David Garcia taking on incumbent Doug Ducey for the top seat in our state.
But we're going to keep running as hard as we can.
Based on the numbers, the gap between these two candidates is growing. The latest OH Predictive Insights poll of 600 likely voters shows Garcia trailing Ducey by 17 points.
Even in a blue wave scenario where Democrats turn out more voters than they've ever turned out in our state's history, at least in the last 10 to 14 years, he still is losing.
Political consultant George Califf of Data Orbital believes Garcia struggled to deliver a clear message on several issues, including public school funding, now one of the pivotal issues in our state.
If you're the education candidate, you must have an education plan. And when the alternative is someone in Governor Ducey who took steps, and we can disagree on how quick or not quick the steps were taken, it doesn't matter. He took the steps. Outcomes have occurred.
Garcia telling us yesterday at a campaign event he believes in closing certain tax credits and loopholes and raising taxes on the highest earners to fund the state's K-12 system.
Arizona needs an initiative for a dedicated revenue source.
Ducey, talking with us today, pointed to the passing of a 20% pay raise for teachers by 2020. And among what can seem like non-stop political ads,
Just imagine, no wall in southern Arizona.
a statement by Garcia the governor and his allies have held on to.
My opponent is a college professor, and he knows the importance of words.
I'm against Trump's wall, but the future for security is technology. And focusing on technology is where we need to go.
I'm concerned about the drug cartels, the human trafficking, and the child sex trafficking. So I want to stop that, so of course I'm supportive of a wall.
And voters are already making their picks. With early ballots out, Califf predicts 30% of votes will be cast over the next 2 weeks. And as always, it's not over till it's over. Bernie Sanders announcing he will campaign for Garcia here in Arizona, and both campaigns tell me they will be pounding the pavement through Election Day.
John, I know Garcia has been facing a number of hurdles here. Part of it is just sort of a lack of support from some of the people who were supposed to be on his side.
Yeah, the Arizona Democratic Party, according to some recent reports, spending nearly $2 million on Katie Hobbs' race for Secretary of State, but reportedly has not purchased any TV ads for Garcia. The experts will tell you that can make a big difference. Steve?
Yeah, it certainly does in messaging. Thanks so much.
Tonight at 6, what it's like for families separated at the border. Meet the people who've been there and gone through it.
Plus, the high-profile tech players talking innovation here in the Valley. Plus,
Arizona Taco Festival is taking place this weekend, so we're scoring you a Smart Shopper deal of the day so you can go for less.
And at a loss for a Halloween costume, who is helping you create some of their boxes?
breaking traffic alert. If you know somebody taking the I-17 right now, call them and tell them to catch a surface street. ADOT just announcing the freeway is closed in both directions at Camelback for a police situation, and we don't know how long this is going to play out, but you can obviously see the backup there from Air 15 and all of the issues that it's causing. Getting a lot of people getting off the road there. You might want to try 19th Avenue as one possible route getting north, but those surface streets are going to be pretty busy as well.
Sweeping move for the music industry, so artists get paid thanks to President Trump. Today he signed the Music Modernization Act, flanked by musicians like Sam Moore, Kid Rock, and John Rich. The act focuses on music licensing and royalty payments. It guarantees songwriters and artists are paid for recordings before 1972, plus better payments for music played on streaming services. Of course, expect that cost to be passed on to consumers.
Here in the Valley, big names in the tech and music industry will join our governor to talk about innovation in education and music. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak, along with Pitbull and others, will all be at the Innovation and Celebration event in Scottsdale tomorrow night. The group brings together people in business, technology, and government to talk about our future in these industries.
Just one more day until the drawing for the third highest Mega Millions jackpot on record at $548 million. Cash option would be $309 million. Not bad, right? The prize has been growing since July 24th for 22 consecutive drawings.
Well, it's the time of year when it feels like every weekend has a festival.
Yes, and bring a big appetite to this one, though it won't take a big bite out of your wallet, thanks to our smart shopper, Chelsea Davis.
The Arizona Taco Festival will be at Salt River Field Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day with more than 50 vendors, including Jason Horton, owner of the Rooster Tavern.
There'll be a margarita tent on Sunday, $2 tacos all weekend long, fun things, Chihuahua beauty contests, Nacho Libre wrestling. Just a great time for everyone. Kids 12 and under are free. There'll be veggie tacos, vegan tacos, pork tacos, every type of taco you could ever have from the best vendors in the Valley, including the Rooster Tavern, which will be there representing, with a veggie taco, a green chili pork taco, and some green chili mac and cheese just to give everybody some fun.
Get ready for our delicious Smart Shopper Deal of the Day for Sunday's admission. It would normally be $20, but it will be half off for you. Just enter the promo code ABC15. You can score the deal by 8 p.m. on Friday. Plus, the first 100 ABC15 viewers to click on the Margarita Masters Sunday tab online and enter the promo code ABC15 will get half off admission. It would normally be $20, so you'll pay $10. That's where you'll get to try 10 samples from 12 of the Valley's best mixologists. Important to note, you have to buy a general admission ticket as well as the Margarita Masters ticket if you want to do both.
It's going to be a beautiful weekend, and we really love having everybody come out every year. It's a fun time.
For all the details, go to abc15.com/smartshopper.
Second, the emergency, the failure of the booster.
Scare in Space. New tonight, we are hearing the audio from the Soyuz crew telling Mission Control that the booster had failed. The crew had to make an emergency landing, which they did safely, and were greeted by their families on the ground. Now engineers are working to figure out exactly what went wrong.
We are also getting new video of the devastation from Hurricane Michael after it slammed into Florida yesterday. Absolute destruction across the Gulf Coast. This is video of Mexico Beach. Houses there just flattened, roofs torn off, and debris all over the landscape. 6 people were killed in this storm, and it is still moving north tonight. Downgraded now, but still dangerous. I guess the good news is it's moving pretty quickly,
Yeah,
right?
It is a quick mover, but still 4 to 7 inches of rain possible across the Carolinas up into Virginia. It is starting to make its exit now into the Atlantic, though, but still some pockets of heavy rain there from Norfolk, Virginia, right on up to D.C. It will continue as a tropical storm tomorrow as it makes its way into the Atlantic. All right, let's bring things back to the valley now, where we're tracking our own tropical cyclone here, and we're already seeing the high clouds move in out ahead of this. That's why that cloud cover has been thickening up for the valley throughout the evening, and still seeing some light rain off to our north and northern sections of Mojave County now. We're actually tracking a couple different disturbances here over the next several days. Of course, Tropical Storm Sergio down there off the Baja Peninsula now. This moves into northern sections of Mexico through the day tomorrow. But then we're watching this other disturbance that's going to be moving in from the Pacific Northwest through the day on Saturday to keep those rain chances around for. So as soon as tomorrow morning, could see some of that light rain move into the valley. The heavier showers with Tropical Storm Sergio will be down near the international border. Places like Douglas, Sierra Vista, Nogales could see an inch or two of rain with this one. I think here in the valley, we're less than 1/10 of an inch of rain throughout the day tomorrow. But as we head into Saturday, that's when that second storm system moves through here. That one could actually fire up some stronger storms for us from about noon to 4 o'clock on Saturday. So that's going to be the time frame we're watching to get more rainfall accumulation here. But tomorrow, still just light showers possible. Saturday, those afternoon storms could dump up to about 1/3 of an inch of rain for us here in the valley. But as we head into the second half of your weekend and early next week, we are looking at some beautiful temperatures and just a slight chance of rain. Right now, we're watching a beautiful sunset. Look at these colors here on this one. Absolutely gorgeous. If you get any pictures of that, send them into us. Share at abc15.com. We love to get them on the air and share them with everybody else a little later on tonight. It's 80 degrees right there at Phoenix Sky Harbor. We're in the 40s and 50s across the high country right now. And here in the valley, we're talking temperatures kind of hovering in the upper 70s and low 80s for the next few days, with those rain chances sticking around. We'll let you know when these temperatures are going back up. Your full 7-day forecast is coming up.
Tonight, Worlds Collide with Grey's Anatomy and Station 19, a crossover 2-hour special event. Don't miss all the drama and the excitement. It starts at 7, followed by How to Get Away with Murder at 9, and then we're back with more news at 10.
Putting the pressure on our senator, pushing the president to act and protect the press.
Then the light display unlike any other, inspired by our own beautiful landscape. And the mysterious illness baffling doctors and paralyzing children, what it is and where it's been found.
A Saudi Arabian journalist missing and feared dead, and now this new video released by Turkish public TV could be the key. It shows 2 Saudi operatives arriving at the airport just hours before Jamal Khashoggi walked into the Saudi consulate in Istanbul and ultimately disappeared. President Trump is being pressured to act, but he is reluctant to move. And now lawmakers, including our own Senator Jeff Flake, are pushing for something to be done, speaking on the Senate floor today.
Put bluntly, we cannot do business with the Saudi government if they directed or were complicit in the murder of Jamal Khashoggi.
President Trump did say he plans to speak to Saudi officials at some point.
Here in Phoenix, it's only the 2nd place in the world you can see anything like this. A light show like no other. Check this out. The Desert Botanical Gardens presents the Electric Desert exhibit. The immersive journey takes guests through the garden with lights and music projected onto the desert life, all customized to our landscape. It's a night event. It opens tomorrow at 6 p.m. All right, so you say you need some ideas for your Halloween costume. I feel ya. You may just need to use your imagination, and Amazon would like to help with their box tombs. Check this out. They have a whole page dedicated to helping you create costumes out of their Prime boxes.
Interesting. His name was caught up in college basketball and their corruption scandal. DeAndre Ayton paid to play before enrolling at U of A. That's the big question. Find out how much money the fixer says he gave his family.
Paying less for Obamacare as premiums drop for the first time. How much less Arizonans will pay?
It's a dark chapter in our country's history. Children separated from their parents after they crossed the border illegally. Hear from one family who knows the trauma of separation. Right now on ABC 15 News at 6:30, a Wall Street roller coaster as the Dow falls more than 1,300 points in just 2 days. What's the bottom line for you? Plus, hundreds of children separated from their families at the border. We talk exclusively with a family who knows firsthand the trauma of separation.
Unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to be the normal case for the most of these kids.
And roads turned into rivers, buildings flattened. The devastation from Michael is jaw-dropping, but there is one moment of hope from this deadly storm.
Breaking traffic alert right now at 6:30 as the 17 is just a parking lot right now. This is all because of a police situation that's going on at the Camelback overpass. Traffic is closed in both directions right now. Let's give you another view of the backups from Air 15 right now. Traffic is backed up absolutely for miles as we hit kind of what would normally be the end of the evening rush. Some alternates to try 27th or 19th Avenues.
Just into our newsroom at 6:30, self-driving technology getting a big boost from Governor Ducey as he just signed an executive order establishing the Institute for Automated Mobility. This will be a new research and testing endeavor focused solely on automated vehicles. We're still sifting through the details, but here's what we know. The Institute will bring together several government agencies, including ADOT and DPS, as well as our state universities and Intel as partners for the project. It'll cost $1.5 million to launch, but will not use state money, but revenue rather from loans repaid from small businesses. There will be testing facilities throughout the state. The focus won't just be on cars and trucks, but potentially drones as well. Law enforcement and first responders will be equipped with automated technology like no other in the country.
The images are hard to forget. Children and families separated crossing into our country illegally. Hundreds of children then taken to holding facilities. The president put an end to that policy in June, but as of the end of September, there are still more than 300 children in government custody.
The images and stories hit close to home for a Valley family who says this is not a new problem.
Yeah, the same thing happened to them about 15 years ago, and they told ABC 15's Stephanie Hockridge how they turned a dire situation into a life of love. It's a story only on ABC 15.
Oh, there's us, man.
Old photographs.
I've never seen these.
Generate new memories.
Seriously? Man, I've always been smiling. That's amazing. I didn't know I was like that.
At 27 years old, Jyothi Chandra is just now learning. He takes after the stranger standing next to him.
Yeah.
His mother.
It was March 2000. I was 8.
Came when I was 9.
But neither knew they were leaving their mothers in India to live illegally in America with an uncle, cousin, father, and brother.
I was crying. I was like, dude, where am I?
Jyothi and his cousin Aman Singh were 8,000 miles from home in Mesa, Arizona. At first, it was the American dream.
I was just like, oh my God, everything's so clean. I fell in love with America.
4 years later, it became a nightmare. Aman's dad and uncle were arrested and deported.
I'm like, what? What are we talking about?
Leaving 4 boys all alone in an apartment to fend for themselves. The oldest was just 16, the youngest 12. They learned to cook, they went to school, but they stopped going to temple where they practiced the Sikh faith. And that's when Vicky Mayo noticed something was off.
You mean they're by themselves? Like, who's taking care of them?
Vicky was only 20 years old when she did the unthinkable.
I found out what apartment they were at, and I drove over, and I literally picked them up.
She had paperwork with her, she had everything with her.
And I remember putting everything away in their closet.
And on the first night, that warm and fuzzy feeling from doing something so honorable suddenly stopped cold.
And I woke up in the middle of the night because Jyothi was screaming. I mean, he was screaming and crying in his bed. And at that time, he was 12. He was a young 12. And I walked into his bed, and I was just shaking his shoulder. I'm like, honey, wake up, wake up. He jumped out of bed, and he was like, where's my mommy?
It was the moment Vicky knew the normally happy-go-lucky boy was broken. Being in America, it wasn't enough. He needed a mom and dad.
And those moments when you let your guard down, that's when it manifested. And that's when you saw it. And he always made friends, at school, but he was always lonely to some degree. Aman was upset as a teenager. He was upset.
Not.
But you did, though, for a while.
For a long time, yeah, but not right now. Yeah. I'm free, I'm happy.
Unfortunately, I don't think that that's going to be the normal case for the most of these kids.
She's referring to the 16,000 children found at the border in just the past 3 months. 2,000 were separated from their parents. Nearly 15,000 arrived at the border alone, without any parents at all.
When kids are born, they bond with their parents. And when that bond is broken, it's very hard to reestablish that connection.
Vicky says she needed to learn how to care for these boys and found the ACEs protocol, which taught her the specific steps she needed to take to help them heal emotionally.
We checked in with mental health, that we did a lot of mindfulness and yoga. And on top of that, we did the basic things that you need to do, which is good sleep, exercise, and nutrition.
For Aman and Jyothi, it worked.
Without her, to getting us papers, green card, I wouldn't be where I am right now in life.
Which is here in Arizona as a citizen of the United States, reunited with his birth mother and standing next to his adoptive mother.
And having faith and believing in God and everything, man, it was a godsend. Like, God sent her to us.
She took a chance on two boys who needed to be loved, forever changing their life story. Stephanie Hawkridge, ABC 15, Arizona.
What an incredible story. In the United States, you can only adopt children who are American citizens. So Vicky, she had to spend 4 years, $60,000 to prove in court that the boys did not come here willingly and had in fact been abandoned.
During that process, Amon was about to turn 18 and would have been eligible for deportation. But 1 week before his birthday, he got his green card. And it was thanks to Senator John McCain, who answered Vicky's call, took the case, and ultimately expedited the process.
Our other big story today, the volatile Dow Jones closing down more than 545 points. The two-day loss of more than 1,300 points is the biggest drop for the Dow since February. Yesterday, stocks took their worst loss in 8 months. President Trump is blaming the Federal Reserve.
And we have interest rates going up at a clip that's much faster than certainly a lot of people, including myself, would have anticipated.